Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on where you're joining us from today. And welcome to the SI Network's Strategic Direction 2026 Co-Creation Workshop. This is meant to unpack and shape the strategic direction of the SI Network 2026. And we're really excited to be hosting this event. Today, myself and Joss will be your host and facilitators. Joss is joining from London. He is the founder of SI Network and works as ecosystem builder. Myself, Roma from Bangalore. I am working as program manager and innovation facilitator with the SI Network. And the purpose of today's event is to share with you all the overall strategic direction of the SI Network currently and for the coming years. It also provides an opportunity for you to have your input to discuss and ask any relevant questions. Couple of housekeeping notes before we start. Let's be mindful about the mute and unmute button. We will unmute when we want to ask question or contribute to the discussion. We're also recording this event and we're live on LinkedIn. In case you've missed any part of this workshop, we are sharing these videos on our website, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So the event will go on for about an hour, 60 minutes. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to put it down in the chat box and we will pick it up as we go. So now I would like to request Joss to take us through the rest of the workshop. Over to you, Joss.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Good to see everyone here today. Hi, Renee, Greg, Jean, Nelson, Jose, and more will be joining soon. So here we are, 2026, to discuss the development of the SI network. Some of you were here in 2025, so this is the second year doing this strategic direction of the network, and it's great to get these workshops going. We did recently a visions workshop around the future vision of the SI network, and these are all helping us, co-create the network with the core team, with hub team members like Nelson and Jose, and the members. So great to be here. Thank you for investing your time. Good to see you, Didiana, Kim, Bowen. We are live. I'll drop the Mirrorboard link in the chat, and you can jump in here whenever you are ready. So here we are. I'm going to say a few words about what we're doing and where we're going, the overall, vision of the SI network, and then a bit of historical development. Some of you will know this a little bit. Some it'll be new to you, but I think it'll help to reset the framing and the context within which we find ourselves at this time. And yeah, talk a bit about the progress there, and then we will go into this workshop here, which is kind of firstly thinking about the platform, but then the different dimensions of that, what our vision for those is, the key things we're working on at the moment, but then also hear from you people about your ideas on all of this. So let me start from the top, which of course is all about the purpose and the vision and so forth. So purpose of the SI network is to build the world's capacity for systems innovation. And this is it here. Why do we do it? We think the world needs a network to connect, integrate, align, and grow alternatives to the incumbent industrial age reductionist way of thinking and organizing. And this new way of working, of thinking, of relating and organizing needs to be informed and inspired by complexity and an understanding of complex systems and how they work and how we can work with that. And we're trying to grow a network, an ecosystem that is, say, aligned with those ideas, those principles, and is able to leverage that complexity instead of, grinding to a halt like we see with many of our institutions. So all throughout today's conversation and most of the communications around what we do at SI, you'll hear this word ecosystem. And that's definitely how I think about what we're doing. It's an ecosystem strategy. We'll see and discuss that as we go through. But also we're trying to grow this ecosystem as a kind of integrating function or factor for the many amazing things that are going on in the world. But often they remain piecemeal, they remain isolated, and we recreate the wheel. And we don't necessarily need another, toolkit or hub or lab or project. All those are good. We do need kind of integration and alignment to get change at a broader scale across different levels. So we're growing this ecosystem as a pathway to growing new systems on multiple different levels and dimensions, from the individual, organizational to societal, and ultimately, we need to make changes at the level of the global economy. So we're working on that sort of stuff. So it's an innovation ecosystem for unlocking the ideas of systems thinking, applying them towards transformative change across sectors and across geographies. So that's part of how we structure things in the hubs. You'll see that. Enabling everyone, anyone, anywhere to connect into an open network that empowers them to learn, connect, and co-create systems innovation in their context in a way that aligns and integrates their contributions into this broader network for systems level innovation. So that's that. That's what we're about. A lot of that comes from a workshop we did a number of months back. Some of you would have been there, where we, co-created and ideated on the vision for the SI network. And I wouldn't say this is finished at all. For me, it's still like an open thing that's evolving, to be honest. I never feel like I have the exact words which describe it. So I feel like it's still something that's forming and developing, and that's kind of okay. But I think we're getting closer to what we are and what we want to be and become. And you'll find it, here on this sticky. You're welcome to take a look at that. That kind of outlines it. And that's what we created last time we talked about vision. So that's that, starting from the top in terms of the vision and what we're trying to create. All of this exists in a historical context. It did not start yesterday. It started, about 10 years ago with SI e-learning platform. I put a video on YouTube. It was about 3 minutes and 24 seconds long about systems thinking. And some people watched it, some more people watched it, and produced some more videos. And we got the ball rolling there in about 2014. So, and for the next 5 years, SI was an e-learning platform, producing lots of video courses, lots of people watching those. About 5 years ago or so, 2019, 2020, so 5, 6 years ago, evolved into more of the community that you see when you go to SI now. And that was the community development period. You can see it down here. Maybe you've seen this graphic before. That was all about people joining and becoming part of this. And the hubs were the way that we kind of allowed people to contribute and be part of co-creating this for this. And then, of course, we had lots of members joining for events and activities, and very exciting as we went from 1,000 to 2,000 to 10,000 members and then 20,000 members pretty quickly. That was a lot of that during the pandemic. And we grew, lots of hubs around the world and lots of events and activities. Some of you were here for all of that. And that was kind of SI 2.0. And at some stage, you realize that that's great and it's good for awareness and connecting and learning, but it's not very good for creating. And it's not necessarily going to get us to where we want to go in terms of building this broader network for systems innovation and enabling that in the world. So the past few years have been kind of a soul searching, a questioning, reverse engineering and redesigning of what we do, and this new idea of an ecosystem as a network for co-creation is more what we're exploring these days. And that's SI 3.0, should we say, that we've been working on for the past year or two. From initial ideation to a lot of kind of rethinking and redesigning things over the past year or so, to the past 6 months or so, where a lot of new things have come into focus, the creator network, the partnerships, and a number of different things that are starting to show great little green shoots of new stuff happening based upon a new paradigm. So that's a little bit of historical context. Maybe you've seen some of that before, maybe it's new to you. It's laid out here, it kind of explains that in detail. I won't dwell upon it too much now. But just to bring you up to date, in case you haven't seen these numbers, it's kind of what SI looks like in terms of numbers these days. We just passed 31,000 members. So there's a lot of those people, me and you included in that. There's one network. There's actually almost 16 hubs now. We just started a few more recently. About 5,000 members using the website every month. Lots of people watching the videos, should we say, and maybe an event every second weekday, or yeah, every second day of the year, right? 174. And then we have broader awareness across our social channel, our media channels also. So that's that. Hopefully it gives you a little snapshot of, you know, how we think of SI and the vision, and also kind of how this fits in the historical context. Um, and then a little bit how we organize ourselves. You may have seen this before, that we have this core, we call it the platform, and that provides kind of core functions and services and programs, and I'll explain those in a minute. And then we have these hubs, some locations, some thematic hubs, and that's kind of the infrastructure for the for organizing the ecosystem, the community. And in terms of the core platform, looks a bit like that, right? So in the platform, we provide some, basic services, the legal, finance, operations, communications, and then we organize everything around these four kind of circles: from awareness, learning, connecting, and co-creating. Hopefully you've seen that on the website. Hopefully you've seen it with other places also. So that's how we structure it and organize things, and our events fit into those kind of programs and most of what we do. And that's how we're going to kind of explore today's conversation. We've got the core platform in the center there. And then we've got the awareness up here, learning, connecting, co-creating. And I'm going to kind of walk through those, but in each one is this blue sticky, which explains a little bit the vision for that area, that program, that section. Again, kind of incomplete, but there's something to guide us in terms of where we think we're going, and something we're kind of continuously working on, should be. These yellow stickies are some of the key things we really want to move forwards on this year. Obviously, there could be a lot of things. There's a lot of things going on in those different areas, but these are kind of the main things that we think we really need to push forwards on. So I'll explain those, and then make a little space for you guys to post up your ideas and have any conversation as we go through. We've got about, what is it, 45 minutes. I guess we're just going to have about 5 minutes or 10 minutes max on each section. But let's jump in here. I mean, any questions about all of this first that I could help to clarify briefly before we get started? Hopefully it's apparent. Hopefully, Roma, you're checking up on LinkedIn to see if people are okay there. Good. All right, that's good. Save us some time so we can jump in. So just to start in the center here, what do you want to create in terms of the core platform? And really, a lot of this is organized around the user journey, how we help people from initial awareness to learning, connecting, and co-creating is how we think about a lot of what goes on here, and how we support that journey and provide the services that the ecosystem needs to be able to function effectively. So the platform should be easily discoverable. People should know about it, and they should be able to easily make sense of it and start their journey, through it, from initial awareness all the way to kind of co-creating, and us be able to support that and having a good user experience and onboarding process, which we don't necessarily have at this time, but we're doing some work on it, have done work on it, and then the whole kind of infrastructure for supporting everything else, such as governance, is an important part. The technology, the communications, the finances, the legal, and so forth. But governance and UX are kind of main things we'd like to really move forwards on. Governance is something that needs kind of continuous work on, but that's the playbooks and how we kind of codify the protocols on the network, and then also the team through which we maintain that. And there's a lot of development that needs to happen there, but also particularly the user experience on the website. There's a lot going on there, so it's quite complicated, and it's a community, so a lot of people are contributing. It could be quite noisy. is there a way to really help people from initially getting started, to progressing in a way that makes sense, that represents their continued investment and continued journey and progress is one of the big challenges here. And onboarding is something we definitely haven't figured out yet, and other aspects of the UX. So I think those are two things. There are lots of things I could talk about here, but those are two things that we're hoping to make progress of this year. Maybe I'll just pause for, we'll start the little workshop piece here. And in terms of these core activities, there's the mirror board again, the kind of infrastructure things. Love to hear any ideas that you might have that we should be working on here. Stan?
Josh, do you have any sort of data on this many people entered, this many people move through certification, this many people move through? Do you have any clue? Do you have a sense, even anecdotally, what percentage of these folks are like once they kind of join, how they progress? Have you done any of that?
Yeah, I mean, you can track things such as awareness, right? So how many people are just aware, that's the media channels and so forth. You can track how many people are joining the website, how many people are using it every month, so forth. And how many people have engaged in starting to learn is another thing you can track also. And we can see how many people are getting the certificate or joining the creator network, which is kind of part of the journey. So we do have that data, Stan. Yes, maybe I should have brought some of it in. I think
Well,
we
I,
should.
and you
Yeah.
don't have, I don't know that necessarily, but just what's your sense of it? Have you looked at it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, there's different pathways and different ways that people use the website, though. That is the challenge, right? Some people come and they just want tools. Some people want to learn. Some people want to, just be involved in events and so forth. So we look at different data points, particularly the awareness and number of people using the website is one of the key ones. People joining is not as important as it used to be because we've got so many members now. But the key ones are kind of awareness. How many people are seeing and becoming aware of this? You track social media. How many people are actively using the website? Are the main ones that we can track. Yeah. But to your point, should get better at that overall process of defining that journey and tracking it better, right?
Yeah, this inspires me because so I would be interested in knowing like if maybe there's some key frameworks that are flagged which are important that people understand them. So but maybe this is just an idea for the next time. I can participate in the strategy meeting. I would be just super interested in knowing which frameworks we basically push into people's minds to create change, you know? That's what I mean.
So which kind of ideas and models and methods you mean by frameworks? Yeah.
Like mental models, yeah, that might also affect
Yeah.
sentence or whatever. So, and kind of, yeah,
What would we like them to take away and be able to talk to another person about, or what would they retain and remember, these sorts of things, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I guess also be able to work with and apply. Yeah, good point. Any other topics here? I think a lot of the exciting stuff actually is in the program, so I might move on to save time for that. I guess this is quite kind of internal work stuff. It's about the technology and operations and so forth. Um, Maybe I'll move up to the awareness for the sake of time. So this one is all about, how do people become aware of or get exposed to, broadly in the world. How many people are becoming aware of systems thinking and these ideas and what they are and able to make sense of them and see the value proposition and um, and then want to be part of this, and how can we create a kind of vision and a narrative, a story around that people can be part of. So that's what we mean by awareness. Um, and it's about yeah, having that right framing, that story that people want to be part of, and a kind of directionality to things also. So there's a lot that could be done here in terms of shaping this overall story to the community and how people feel part of that and how the different hubs feel part of that. And that's a key part of what we need to do in terms of building that narrative about the importance and relevance of systems approaches and helping people make sense of them in the context of the changes of the world and how they can help us and give us a direction as to where to go. But also connecting that to the different thematic hubs and location hubs. Also, this state of systems innovation paper we started a couple of years ago, which is giving a more kind of concrete representation of how this is developing, right? Not just as a story for change, but also an evaluation or assessment in some sense of what's going on in the world. Are we making progress? Where are the blockers or enablers for developing the field and so forth? So we started that in 2023. We did it in 25. We'll do it again this year, and that's something I think's really important. Helping people make sense of all of this, find their place in it, and also have an idea for all of us about how we're trying to move forwards, where the challenges and opportunities are that we should be kind of working on. And then also bring that down to the hub levels. We're developing these papers for some of the theme hubs and location hubs. For example, the design hub we're working on at the moment, state of systemic design, and that helps to contextualize it in design, like how is systems thinking making progress there. We've done it for the London hub in the UK. We're working on it for the Sweden hub. And, hosting a workshop with people there to gather their input, producing that paper and having a conference coming out of it. So this all helps to create a framing for what we're doing, a story to be part of, and then a way to make sense of if we're making progress, how we're making progress, and what the development of all of this looks like. So that's an important thing that kind of started investing in more this year, particularly for the hubs, because it can form a good platform for them to then think about how they're growing their ecosystem and engaging the relevant parties in that. Also, the narrative put together for the first time a story of systems change, which is kind of the core narrative around the rise of complexity and wicked challenges and how systems approaches help us address that. So that's an important thing we're developing out. Bowen's doing interviews with people to hear their part of the story, how they feel part of this, or how they see this essentially. So you could have kind of different community perspectives on that, which is an important part of it. So that's that. That's the kind of stuff we're working on here. We still do, as you know, a lot of communications, a lot of other things here, but those are the main things we're trying to push forwards on. And yeah, we'll take a little time to hear any of your ideas. Feel free to post them up or comment or ask out loud.
There's a question just from LinkedIn. Nicholas is asking, what model of shared governance do you use?
Yeah, kind of custom built over the past 4 or 5 years uniquely for SI. So if you go onto the website and you go to the support section, you'll see there's a number of playbooks there, a number of guides, and our governance is outlined there. We developed our own constitution about 2 years ago, but there's protocols and policies for the different elements of the ecosystem, from the hub charter to the platform charter and so forth. So you'd find it all on the website under the support section and the guides there. And it obviously draws inspiration from many other governance frameworks and organizational design, such as sociocracy, but it's quite custom developed. Yeah, so let's maybe just take a few minutes. If you have any ideas, I can answer questions at the same time, but feel free to jump in here for people who are on the Zoom. And any ideas for how you think we should be developing better here under the awareness section would be welcome. Stan?
Yeah, it feels like the narratives program is new to me. Can you give me an example of how what's going on there?
Yeah, so two or three things. One is the narrative has kind of always been there, Stan, is, if you watch
Uh-huh.
if you watch the videos on YouTube, it's kind of implicit, right? So the first thing I did was like bring that together into a PDF. So you'll find it. We created a section on the website under Home, which is called Insights, and in that
Okay.
you will see at the top PDF called Narrative for Systems Change, and that kind of brings together for the first time the kind of core narrative and lays it out in quite simple terms. So you kind of walk all the way through it from the rise of complexity to wicked challenges, the transition we need to be making, and the kind of world that could come out of that. So that's PDF. We started building short films to kind of bring that alive, and now Bowen's doing interviews with people to hear their input on that also. So we're just starting that like in a week or two. So those are some of the starters. Also going to be running workshops and producing papers and so forth around the state of the transition, like trying to help people make sense of like the changes going on in the world and where are we in that transition? Are we going backwards or forwards? And also later in the year, a futures lab where we'll think about like scenarios of where we're going in the world, and also create media content around that also. So that sort of thing, and it's quite new, Stan. It's kind of been there in events and bits and pieces, but really want to bring it together in a much stronger way, and that's going to play out over the course of the year.
There's a similar question from to the governance one, but how is the network formally constituted? That is to say, is it a UK registered company, non-profit, charity, etc.? This question is from James.
Good to see you here, James. So that's a good question. So that's one of the changes we made actually just this year. We've been discussing it for some time. We used to be a normal company registered here in the UK, and over the past two years or so, people started questioning whether that was the best model. And we've had a number of conversations, and over time, we decided to shift to a different a stewardship model, and have shifted just in the past 2 months to a new legal entity, which is a UK limited by guarantee company. So it's a company, except for it has no shares that people can own. So limited by guarantee means that the company is essentially a non-for-profit. No profits can be taken out. All the money is reinvested for the purpose. So it's a really good structure. We're lucky to have these here in the UK. They don't necessarily exist in other countries. And basically, it's very fitting for a social enterprise like ours. Many other organizations like ours follow this in the UK. And yeah, it's really helped us to do a number of things that we wanted to change. Get rid of the ownership of the organization through the shares, and also get rid of the potential to take profits out of the company through those shares also. So that was just like 2 months ago we made that shift. Lots of talks about it, but it's great to have done that. Yeah.
John, that's great.
Nelson?
Yes, thank you. I have two questions. First is about the impact of the changes in the strategy about the playbook updates and in awareness with this new strategy of the narratives. What is the benchmark for this? And on the other side, if the network is going to be committed to remain using the Magni Networks platform.
So I'll answer your second one. Yes, for the moment, we have no plans to change away from Mighty Networks. to date it's served us well. It's far from perfect, but it makes things a lot easier for us, right? Instead of developing our own platform, and I don't think there's anything much better out there at this time, Nelson. So I think it's for the moment we're definitely staying with it. The first question, Nelson, was that maybe you could clarify that first question again, if you don't mind.
Well, the narratives program is relatively new. So what's the benchmark for comparing the impact of this on awareness from the previous strategy? And talking a little bit about the platform is because from the Mexico Hub, what we have found through several interviews is that not many people find the platform very attractive for saying in one way. And a bit of the analysis we made from the data on the members from last year, we found that most of the people joining were online. 20 days from the moment they joined it, only they connected to the platform in the first 29 days. At 29 days, 50% of the people that joined didn't came online to the platform anymore, and the broader range for the 90% is on 6 months, more or less.
Yeah. It kind of goes back to the user experience, I guess, Nelson, and you're right, there's pretty big drop-offs there. I would certainly question whether the website is, you know, the software that we're using is the issue, Nelson. I'm not sure if I switch to another, you know, Circle or another application, I'm not sure that would fix the problem. It's probably more to do with the actual design and user experience and so forth. So for that, I mean, we've assessed different softwares, and I'm not sure there's much better than Mighty Network, to be honest, Nelson. So I think like you'd have to kind of unpack that. Like, is it the technology? Is it the user experience? Is it something else, right? So people often complain about software as kind of the problem. So I would have to kind of unpack that a bit more before really saying it's the software and we need to shift to another platform. Yeah.
We were wondering if it was properly because of the platform or because the people not perceiving clearly the value proposition.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a number of different things, right? That's what user experience is about. Like you try and unpack all those things. So I'll do work on that. Maybe go to your first question. So the narrative is not really a alternative strategy. It's not like we're getting rid of the old and you know bringing in something new. We're building upon what we already do, right? To try and give it more coherence, Nelson, so that there is actually a story and there's a sense of being part of something. There's also a sense of coherence in terms of where we're going and so forth, and opportunity to host those conversations about our place in the world, you know, and what we could do and where we can be going or should be going and so forth. So I don't think it's new. We weren't really doing that. It's not really a change in terms of getting rid of something. It's kind of adding something on top that's hopefully going to make the whole thing more strategic, more meaningful, and help people make sense of what we're doing and where we're going and so forth. Yeah. So it's kind of like an addition. We have a question. Roman, do you want to read this one out?
Sure. So Lee is asking regarding the assessment of success in system innovation, is there like a map or database collecting the successful stories in different regions? And also a system platform where people can find others or resources for collaboration. So that is first part. The second part is inspired by the movie Outgrow the System. Would be great to have a support group for helping people concretely help them taking part in new system. Are there similar support groups?
So yeah, we keep a database of examples that we've been sharing. I wouldn't say there's a proper map, which is an idea. It's not a complete database. It's about 8 or so. But that's part of the state of systems innovation. We're going to start highlighting those, and also the hub papers, like the design hub. We're highlighting a number of case studies there. So as we do more of those, it's helping us highlight the different organizations, individuals doing interesting work, and also the case studies of projects and initiatives and so forth. So definitely going in that direction. We have some of those, but the data systems innovation, the main one, the one in the different hubs, location and theme hubs will help to, we want to integrate more of those case studies into that so that people can see that. And also as you may see that we do spotlights of people on the website, and we're integrating more the work that they do and kind of case studies in that way also. And that's been something we kind of recognized needs doing for a long time. We've been going in that direction. So I think we're going in the right direction. So inspired by the movie Growth, would be great to have a support group for helping people to concretely help them take part in growing new systems in a new system. Are there similar support groups? There's the hubs that you can be part of. Yeah, do you want to say a word about that, Lee? You're looking for spaces. Is this on LinkedIn, Roma, or here on Zoom? Yeah, it's here on Zoom.
It's here on
Yes,
Zoom.
Yep.
yes. Can I reply?
Yep.
Yes, indeed. I'm located in Switzerland, Zurich, and here I still, I connected with some collective and association about the growth and similar, but concretely they don't really provide a, how do you say, a network on a larger level for helping resources to move around this alternative system, because there are really a lot of cooperatives, a lot of other associations of individuals that are doing what I would consider system innovation, but again, maybe it's just my imagination. So yes, maybe for me is yes, apps in Switzerland. Okay, on my personal level also I would love to have a support group to really put in every level of my life. All my money are just going in different kind of production system, different kind of housing system, different kind of energy production. So all this, but it's very difficult sometimes alone. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the hubs could provide those spaces. Location and thematic hubs are the kind of places where we create sub communities that can be support groups. Also, the labs that we're developing could be that, but I haven't necessarily focused on that. But it's a good point. Support groups. Okay, I'm going to stay going for the sake of time. This next one is about the learning, the academy on the website, and the vision for that. So what is it? Creating great content and courses that enable people to learn and deepen their understanding of systems thinking and systems innovation methods, seeing how it can be applied in their area of work. So again, it's a journey that we need to be able to take people on, and we need to, but like you're saying, Renee, have clarity around what we really want them to take away, what we really want them to learn, and what is that kind of journey, and also be able to track that in some way. So we've introduced the certificates maybe 6 months ago or more now, and that's been a great development. We've more recently introduced the foundations in systems innovation, and actually a level 2 certificate now, and a more advanced course. And then we also have the kind of specialized courses also. So there's a lot of content there. There's a lot of good content. And we've helped more recently to kind of help people figure out where to start in terms of this foundation course, and kind of focus people's attention on that. As if you want to, get the basics, then this is the best place to get started. And it's pretty solid. It's got all the guides and videos. And that's integrated with certificates. You cover that to get your level 1 certificate. So that's a basic kind of starting point for us to be able to track these things, and quite pleased with actually just having that kind of core little system going, and that then also is the pathway to becoming part of the created network. So we're starting to get a little bit of flow there. Why it took us 5 or 10 years to get to that stage, you might ask. I'm not sure, but we got there, and that's something quite pleased with. There's also these learning cohorts. We need to be able to develop that better, get it more systematic. So we have next week starting the first one. We've done ones in the past, but we want to kind of get more systematic in terms of this being based upon the foundations course where you get your certificate and then you can go to the next level in terms of the creator network and running these learning cohort programs. So we've got a 10-week one starting next week, and that's going to guide them through the foundations course, get your certificates, and want to tie that together, which is what we're doing, and maybe run that once or twice a year, probably twice a year, because it's 10 weeks. And then that's a good way of supporting people through this, because it's a bit of work to do that foundations course, a bit of a motivator to hold the hand, support them, and guide them through that towards certificate and next stage in the journey. So we've been trying to tie all that together. I think it's coming together. We need to learn from this first cohort that we run next week, starting next week, and see how it fits together. But I think it's kind of the very basics that we have there for the moment. So that's that. I mean, this really builds upon a lot of content we have at SI, right? So we've really built a lot of content. It's not like we need more content. We kind of have enough. It's just like packaging it, presenting it, and guiding people through that in a way that's really makes sense and helps them on that journey. Okay, should we just take a little pause for 2 or 3 minutes to do some posting of any ideas we might have here? Maybe put 3 minutes on the timer. We'd love to hear any ideas you have about the Academy or questions. Post your questions up here also on the board. We'll take 3 minutes. Okay, maybe I jump in here for the sake of time. So having opportunities to iteratively apply new learning with increased sophistication on competency increase. Bon, any words you want to say on that?
Yeah, I guess I put it in the learning category, but ideally this is something that can start there, but iteratively progresses into connecting and creating as well. That as people, because learning, it is a forever thing, right? And if SI can be a place where you start with learning and you're kind of putting that into practice, I think they call that practice. But then as you actually gain more competence and confidence, you can actually apply that in real world projects and eventually, make it, maybe even make a living out of that, and that the road just continues.
Not waiting, a few years before you apply your ideas is what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. So Kim, do you want to say a word briefly about this?
Yeah, I'm just sort of voicing what you said as well at the regarding the platform is it's not necessarily that Mighty is the best platform, but it has a lot of good features that are not really we're not really using the potential that it could be. So I feel that it is a UX issue, and I think it ties into the onboarding and certain sort of how do we design the overall membership engagement and the journey that members are on. So I think that's something that maybe, I mean, Nelson, you maybe have some ideas and maybe we can come together and surface some ideas on what we can do to redesign that, because I think it is primarily a UX issue and it is solvable. And again, Mighty offers a lot of potential that we're not utilizing. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, users often don't, have a full picture, so they blame things that aren't necessarily the thing that's the real problem. So sometimes we're quick to blame technology. Anyway, you'd have to unpack it first. So, anyone here? Dan? This is self-evident. Make sure to differentiate from other system thinking certificates. Okay. Yeah, I mean, generally, systems innovation certificate, right, which provides a good differentiator because there aren't many out there. But yeah, I mean, across the board, trying to get the right differentiators is a good thing to keep in mind. Okay, I'm going to stay going for sake of time. So here we are, Connect, all about the community and connecting people. And what are we hoping for here? A network of hubs that form ecosystems within different locations and sectors, providing spaces online and offline for people to connect, exchange, and collaborate. And what are we working on here? So, well, the partner network has been part of what we've been working on, right? Connecting organizations or create a way for them to be involved. We've developed that. We have about 5 or 6 partners at this time, and that's going relatively well. So that's been a good development, but building upon that. We also have been working on the website to create to think through that Connect space, and have made some progress creating a new space called Connect, where we're spotlighting members of the community, the work that they do as a way to people to connect. We haven't fully figured out the whole user experience there, but that's a work in progress. The hubs, interesting developments. We have our network meeting on Monday with all the hub representatives. So I'll be seeing some of you there. What's happened there is, interesting developments in terms of, 3 new location hubs starting across Europe. So the location hubs are kind of coming back, and they're intersected with this partnership. Actually, those 3 hubs in Barcelona, Berlin, and Sweden, all kind of supported by a partner organization. And we're going to be working, well, we have Rene here from the Berlin hub. We have people from many other hubs here. But we're going to be working quite closely with those hubs. I'm traveling more to Sweden to support the hub there, and Barcelona and even Berlin, and doing conferences with those and producing these state of systems innovation papers also. So there's more of a focus again on location hubs, which is really good to see, because they were struggling for a bit, and now I think they're really coming back, particularly the ones in Europe. So I want to try and foster and grow that, because we've really seen that without the location aspect, it doesn't really work. You need these offline spaces for people to connect, to really bring this alive. Last night we had a meetup here in London, and every time I host those, I think, wow, these are great. We should do more of them. So it's really important, that aspect, and it's great to see the location hubs come back. It's great to see even potentially stronger location hubs because of their support from partners, and because I can actually be there to help them. And we're planning to do these 3 conferences across Europe and really try and focus on that ecosystem level strategy and growth for those location hubs. Similar with the thematic hubs, working with those, similar sort of strategy around the state of systems innovation as a way to illuminate the ecosystem and think about how to grow that and so forth. Again, experimenting firstly with the design hub and then hopefully a few more. And that's a little bit about the hubs. I'd say they're doing well. They're creating spaces, as you'll see. We just had the Cities Hub event this morning and London Hub event last night, and that's ongoing. So they're creating good spaces, but to continue trying to develop that network because it's absolutely core to what we're doing as a way of growing and scaling and so forth. Yeah, we're just got a bit of time, so I'll take any questions or any ideas here. You want to read out any questions we have or anything on the board, Roma, for us?
In the Zoom chat section, I don't see questions. Even on LinkedIn, there's
On the board, you can read these ones. Other people can post their ideas. Yeah.
Okay. Can you, yeah, thank you. Matchmaking systems or opportunities so people can connect for collaborations. That's the first sticky. And the second one is directory of systems approaches, outcomes, and contacts that could be a reference to others facing new systems challenges.
System, okay. Who's the second one? Greg, would you like to say a word about that?
Yeah, sure. Well, I've seen this work in other contexts. There was a friend in Argentina who did something called Impacton and was interesting because we have a community of system solvers. Granted, the problem is that it's all emergent practices. Everything's going to be novel, but there's probably some things in common that we can learn from. So, or at least if in terms of ideation. The other thing is neat is not only just sort of being able to kind of in some ways document our work in terms of what's been successful and what hasn't so others can learn from it, but also be able to get the people involved. Because sometimes when it comes to saying, hey, we tried this thing and it was around recycling tires and doing some community projects here in Argentina, and you connect with somebody who would say, I don't know, could be in India, and there's going to be very different contexts for both of those. So having access to the people who actually worked on it would be great for like questions and answers in case you want to follow up and see what they thought in terms of issues, if there was a conflict or something else they hadn't foreseen.
Yeah, it's a good point, and it kind of goes back to there are different ways people to connect, isn't it? And we think about connection, we just think about people, but often people connect around something else, like a case study or a challenge they have, or something like that, is what you're trying to say, I think. And that's what we've been thinking. Maybe we should not just say, oh, here's a person, go and connect with them, but here's a problem that this person was working on. Maybe you have that problem, and maybe you should connect with them to talk about that problem, you know? So that's like I was saying, when we used to just spotlight people and say, oh, here's this person, go and chat with them with their profile. But now we spotlight them and say, here's the work that they do, and this is the interesting stuff they do. So go and connect around that if you're also working on that.
You're already doing this in the organization because of like some of the weekly calls where we get to get somebody who's working in healthcare or whatever, and so they're dealing with certain problems. And being able to kind of, now with AI, you can take notes and everything. And so the kind of idea here would be is how do we kind of create this as a community resource that we can kind of use the question, get out to connect with people, some ideas, and be able to kind of leverage the collective wisdom of the group.
Yeah, I think it's a good point because we've always struggled with just the thing of like, oh, come and connect with another person, you know, and that hasn't really worked for us. But I think this thing of like, here's a case study I'm sharing that I worked on, and that's an opportunity for everyone else who's working on that to come and connect with me or with the others. So thanks for that point. Your first one. We do some of this working out loud. I mean, this is an example, right, of working out loud, this event here. We do publish like, our design principles, like what we've learned about community development and what works and what doesn't work. So we have done that and share that quite a bit. Probably don't do it as kind of granular as much as we could do. Nicholas, is there anything you might like to add here? You with us, Nicholas, or should I read this out? CSI network is purpose driven, but what's the purpose? Is there any alignment with conventional frameworks like the SDGs? Yeah, so the purpose is to build the world's capacity for systems innovation, and we do that through an ecosystem approach, trying to build ecosystems of actors within these different locations, these different sectors, and generally to build their capacity for doing this work through learning, connecting, and co-creating. So it's kind of an infrastructure, Nicholas. SDGs, as they imply their goals, their outcome focus, and their problem and solution kind of framing, and it's not really the direction we take. It's more about how do we build that infrastructure, which can then really kind of go and do this work. So the screen one down here, Nelson. Yeah, I think that's what we're trying to do. Like I was saying, isn't it? Like show people's work, and as Greg was mentioning, like when people present their case study, that's kind of the prompt, isn't it, to go and connect with that. Is that anything you'd like to add to that, Nelson?
So, can you repeat the last part?
This just to share what you're thinking here. Do you think we're doing some of this when we host, case studies and so forth, or anything you'd like to share on this, Sticky?
I don't think that's my comment on.
Oh, no, okay. Design some mechanisms for promoting interaction and trustful relationships in a safe space and low
on
risk commitment before pretending to engage in or before approaching to engage in a more,
Yes,
yeah.
I think that could be something limiting certain interactions or engaging in some collaborations, because if people doesn't know each other or have some trust developed, that could be limiting these collaborations. I don't know how, if there is an indicator or some data that you have of what kind of collaborations or how many collaborations have been fostered or promoted via the SI network.
Mhm. Yeah, very difficult to track. When I go to our meetups, for example, I always hear, examples of how they met someone else there and got the job or did this and that. So difficult to track. But I think you're talking about like kind of breaking the ice here, like different stages to interact, engaging before you're really going to get to doing something big to get, not expecting them to kind of jump straight in, building that trust and so forth. I think it's a good point. All right. Great. So let's get going. We just have 5 minutes or less left. The final section is the co-create, all about how we apply this. Number of developments here, particularly the creator network is one of the main changes that's kind of coming about, which it's a network for practitioners, for people who want to contribute to the network or making systems innovation happen in the world. We started that about 5-6 months ago. We have about 5-6 members, and that's been a great way to bring people together. These people who are more kind of invested and dedicated, it's mainly the hub team members at the moment, and help them connect and exchange and find ways to work together. So it's proving a great kind of connection space that we meet every week, and we share what we're doing and so forth, and opportunities. And that's proven a really good development. I think it's going to be the foundations for us to do stuff together. We've also started 2 or 3 labs this year so far, 1 or 2 projects, and we'll be coming back to the open incubator. So creating a program for people to, like we had the open accelerator last year, where people could come with their challenges and through a structured process, apply the tools and methods to that challenge and try and incubate an initiative coming out of it. So hope to run that again during the summertime after the learning program. That's kind of the idea that one follows the other. So you learn the ideas, and then this is where you're going to bring your challenge in and apply your tools, and you can work with others on that. So yeah, again, building upon what we learned from the Open Accelerator last year. That's some of the things we have coming up here, but The vision: a community of creators and partners that are equipped with great tools to incubate and develop projects and labs applying systems innovation methods to key challenges, organized into broader portfolios to support systems level innovation. So it's definitely the idea that we don't have to do everything. We should be supporting a network, partners, creators, to be able to do stuff together, because this is about what happens in the world, what changes in the world, and we can't do all of that. So we will be doing some projects and labs and developing this community and incubator, but there's much more outside in the world. We can find ways to connect, these creators with partners and make interesting stuff happen. So that's a little bit the create section. We are trying to push forwards on this. This has always kind of been our week. We've been better at the other areas and still trying to get better at this. We've updated the toolkit. You've probably noticed that. And I think we've got a really good framework there now. We've put it into the Mirrorverse and it's much more accessible. But the Creator Network is really important development. Also, this partner network being connected in, I think, is laying the foundations for really interesting stuff to follow here. So it's still a work in progress, but I feel like a lot has been done already over the past year. I am aware of time. Unfortunately, we've hit the limits here. Any final questions? Any final comments? Apologies for not having more space there at the end. Anybody like to share anything? Is the connection space ongoing? Is the connection space ongoing? Yes, you'll find it under the community space on the website called Connect. Yep.
We have a comment by Daniel on LinkedIn. He says, "Hi team, yes to offline spaces. We call them touches and talk and the cafe tools. I have a proposal to acknowledge relationship, honor connections, and count contributions. Maybe add the social by design perspective to that. A person joining is a network node joining your network. So place of discovery is a powerful setting."
Yeah, it's a powerful way of looking at it, isn't it? Each person is a new node in your network, a new opportunity, a new place, a new context, and so forth. That's a great contribution. Thank you. Does the network support organizations? Yep, Nicholas, we have a partner network, which is for organizations now. So we've started developing that. There's 5, 6 of those. It creates a great API, a way for organizations to plug into the network. So if you know of an organization, if you're part of one, if you have one, we're always open to conversations about having organizations join the partner network. You can send me or Roma a message on the website. Under the support section on the website, you'll also find help. If you have any questions or comments, things you'd like to share with us, we welcome those. Sorry about the timing there. Wasn't quite as good as I would have hoped. But we'd love any feedback here. Maybe I'll leave you to follow up here, Roma.
Thank you so much, Joss. Thank you, everybody, for joining today's session. We'd like to know, how was your overall experience? Was it relevant and engaging for you? So feel free to put one of these dots and place it between 0 and 10 on the horizontal bar. And also, if you have any comments for us on how we may improve our work, feel free to add it to one of these sticky notes. And thank you so much again for joining, and have a great rest of the week. And see you on the network in our coming events.
Excellent. Thank you all for joining and your contribution, guys. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.